Hey, sorry.
Writers have a love-hate relationship with films about writers, but your performance really captured the life and also the anxiety. How did you do that?
Oh, well, that's good. Well, I live with a writer. I know writers. I also like writing and books, and you know, I think being an actor helps me relate to the idea of writer's block to me is totally terrifying because I know what it feels like to be uninspired. And you know, I read about writers' journals and the routine, and when you sit down to write from 8 a.m. to noon every day, 4 hours every morning, if you can't produce, what that feels like. So I just surrounded myself with it and, you know, used what was given to me.
Calvin's a character who says no a great deal of the time. Was it a challenge to make him likable?
You know, I didn't think too much about that. I think I empathized with the character when I read it, and I think that to me means that other people can empathize with him, and so I just really tried to understand and be in his shoes as best as I could.
Of course, it's an intensely romantic film, at least for part of the story.
Yeah.
Was it nice to wallow in that romance?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, there's so many fun shifts in the film. So to start, Calvin's in sort of a tough spot, and then he finds inspiration as a writer, and then he finds love. And he's got some fun family dynamics with his brother and even with his therapist. And, you know, there's some wonderful relationships in the film. And yeah, to get to run around and, you know, be in love is a good thing.
I really want to ask you about working with Zoe, of course, but first, can you tell me about the dog?
Yeah. Scotty, the character, was played by Oscar, the dog. First film. He knocked it out of the park.
I think he's kind of a key character. He's sort of like the MacGuffin.
I think he's a good character, and you know, somehow they cast this dog, and you know, you look at him and Calvin, they sort of, you know, they're similar in some way. It's amazing.
You've now made 2 key films with Valerie and Jonathan. Is there a sense that your destinies are intertwined?
No, I don't know about that, but you know, I love them. I think they're some of the best people I know and that I've worked with, and I would work for them any day of the week. Yeah, so I hope I get to work with them again.
And of course, you mentioned acting opposite Zoe, who also wrote the screenplay. So you're playing a character who creates her character, but really she created you. Did your head ever explode with the paradoxes?
It didn't, although, you know, now that I think about it, I do, you know, I see the irony of it, but it's not something that I ever put a lot of thought into. I liked the part, and Zoe wrote it. That's a great thing.
Obviously, Steve Coogan is a big legend in the UK, and the scenes with him are very enjoyable. Yeah. What was he like to work with?
Well, Steve was great. I think Steve was the first person we thought of for that part. So we were excited to send it to him and excited that he wanted to do it. You know that he is a funny, whip-smart guy, you know, I think he did a great job in the film.
Apart from Scotty, the other non-human co-star was the typewriter. Mm-hmm. But at the end, Calvin trades it in. Was that sort of implying that he's sold his soul a little?
No, I think it's implying that he's growing up. You know, I think that's sort of a romantic object for him. And, you know, I think Calvin has got a bit of arrested development in the beginning of the film, and part of his journey is really almost a coming of age or becoming a man. So he's, I think, you know, letting go of some of the past with that. I think it's a positive thing.
So can I just choose
one
question?
Yeah.
A bit of an obvious one, but if you could meet Calvin towards the start of the story, what advice would you give him?
Wow. Well, knowing what happens to him, I think Calvin needed to go through what he went through to become, a better person and become more okay with himself and love himself so he can love somebody else. So I guess I'd try to be his friend, but I don't know if he would accept. You know, he's a bit of a lonely guy.
Fantastic, Paul. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.